Hello and welcome to the Every Other Saturday podcast for a brand new episode this week where Philippe Clement has finally been sacked as Rangers manager. Sunday evening last night we were looking at the official announcement coming for Rangers. Eventually did come later on through the night. It was broke through the news kind of early last night. So it's done. He's now no longer the manager of Rangers. We can now finally have that offer back
After,
when we're coming on to a podcast and talking about the same thing every
yeah,
time. We can now start thinking about what's next after Philippe Clement now.
after making what 3, 4 videos saying this guy needs to go, it finally happens. So, there's just think a bit of relief there. Thank God, they actually made the decision. It's a shame, obviously, it took them this long, but at least they finally made the right call.
No, definitely the right call, and I think Patrick Stewart coming out last week and giving his thoughts about current situations with the board and saying, look, it's not financially based that they've still got Clement in the job. Obviously, with the 49ers stuff coming out fairly last week as well, you kind of expected them maybe just to be keeping them there till all said and done with that takeover. But it was just beyond a joke. Honestly, it was beyond a joke. The gaming Saturday just terrible, and you can't keep a guy there for that much longer after such a poisonous atmosphere at Ibrox, just such a flat, dead atmosphere. It felt like everybody just gave up, including the players on the pitch. So, a horrible situation to be in. The board had to act, and they have, and they've sacked Philippe Clement, who in this game here, you knew it was done. It was just one of those games where at Ibrox, you've seen your rivals lose. Obviously, the league's done, but to even just make up a bit of ground and make it a bit more respectable at the top of the league, go out there and win at home. But just like we did at Queen's Park, we served up some of the worst football I've seen at Ibrox in years, and Clement is the guy that has to take the fall for that. I think if we look at his stats in charge, 497 days in charge, sorry, 86 games, 55 wins. I mean, you look at the draws and the losses going into 31, and draws are just as bad as losing a game at Rangers. So dismal form. I think probably this time last year we were top of the league, won that game against I think it was St Johnstone away, and dominated Hearts at home, then get beat off Motherwell, and that's when it kind of started to crumble for Philippe Clement. After that, he was just no longer the same guy. He was under immense amounts of pressure, and he was never really he was never able to get the fans' faith back in him, which is unfortunate for him. He does leave with a League Cup win, however. Again, a cup we should be winning. It's one of those where is it really an achievement if you're only winning one League Cup as a Rangers boss? Of course, you have to win it, but there could have been a lot more if we actually kicked on. And then I think it's important to look at his old form as well. Any manager will be judged on it. One win, and that was the very start of this year. Five losses, including one in the cup final, two cup finals, sorry, and obviously that draw where he celebrated it as if it was a victory at Ibrox last season with Matondo's late efforts. So it's just been an absolute disaster in appointment, and it started off with promise, like Beale did, like Gio did, like all these guys have started off with. They've had that manager bounce, they've went into the whatever 10, 11 games they've got, and then it gets to an old firm game, it gets to a game where there's pressure on it, and they eventually crumble, and that was no different with Clement. But I think what I'll actually give Clement a wee bit, he never got the tools really for the board. He was kind of always dealing with one hand but tied behind his back, but he never made it really that easy to believe in what he was doing. So then the fans could believe that the board should put money into his style, and I'm still sitting here wondering what his style of football actually is. So
It's just, you just, as I say, you just look at obviously when he first came in, you thought, right, this guy's going to be a bit of, there's going to be no nonsense. He's going to clear all that kind of carry on out. And you thought you would identify your style of play. You never really did. Really, you had no idea what we were doing half the time. You said Old Firm form is just shocking. And then I just won him one League Cup where he could have had a league title as well, but obviously losses to Motherwell and what have you killed that off. And it's just for that point on, really, it was sort of you just knew it was done. And I'll give you that. I can give him that. Obviously, maybe with the board and some things, but obviously with the transfers and that. But at the end of the day, he's still got to go out there and get the tune out of the players that he's got. Um, you just felt obviously with his last press conference and that there that you could just tell he was done. He had no excuses. He had nothing really much to say. And yet again, we're sitting here now and we're saying to ourselves like who's going to be the next one. Which is just shows you done it really with the way the club has been run. And obviously we'll get on to all the stuff that's going on happening off the park and stuff like that with the board and whatever you. But it's just again, mate, we're sitting here and we're saying right, we're getting a new manager. Who's it going to be? And I just hope this time next year we're not in the same boat.
Well, exactly. That's what it has to be now. The club need to learn for the managers that have managed us in the
It's
last 4 years.
it's
There's been too many.
well, that's what it is. There's been too many, and it's I just these guys. Yeah, again, you want any evidence that they have no clue what they're doing? You just look at the managerial, I'd say, appointments and the way they've handled the situations with the managers and what have you. I mean, as I say, I was definitely one I know at the time. Obviously, you were more for Muscat and what have you. I really thought, right, this guy's managed in a league, Belgian league. It was kind of maybe you could say similar to us and what have you. Then he managed in France, and you're thinking, right, maybe this guy can maybe do something. Obviously, worked with young players, maybe get a tune out of them. Just nothing whatsoever, and it was a disaster appointment, mate. An absolute
Yeah.
disaster.
And it was a disaster appointment, and then it was a disaster to give him an extension on that contract at the start of the season, which again that feeds into the concerns that we have about how this club has been ran over the past few years. I mean, that was not warranted whatsoever. We had absolutely shat the bed in the title race, and he gets rewarded with an extension. Aye, a bit of dismal situation to be in there, but he's now gone. It was one of those things where I don't wish Philippe Clement any ill will. He tried his best. I'm fully sure that he's a decent guy behind the scenes and stuff. And as I say, he had one hand
I
tied behind
don't,
his back at times, but you need to look at
I
what
don't.
you're being offered, and it wasn't good enough.
No, I wasn't good enough at all. I don't question anything like that. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, decent guy and what have you, but just hasn't worked out. And it's as I say, it's on him at the end of the day, and it's also on the board. You know that. But at the end of the day, he's a man that's put in the dugout. He's got to get the results. He's got to win the titles, and he just couldn't do it. Wasn't up to the job.
Aye, and then like when you look at what fans' kind of attitude towards him now, it's not one of those things where he'll probably be remembered fondly at all. I mean, all this
Nah.
shite that he came out and spoke in the media and gaslighting the fans at every turn, and it's been a dire sort of year on for what we were saying there. When we first obviously get to the top of the league last season and looked like we were going to kick on, and since then it's been a disaster. So I think his Rangers team will be remembered for a team that's so easy to play against. It's so easy to beat. If you look at only some of the games, Motherwell at home, St Mirren at home, Queen's Park at home, all losses. Like Dundee United this season at home was a draw. Um, I mean, there's just so many poor results in there. Some good results, don't get me wrong.
I
Away
don't.
to Real Betis was obviously a big one at the time. Away in Nice and stuff, but European form and league form again, it's totally different. Like this guy is good in Europe.
And
He's shown that, but
that's what you can say with the last couple of managers really in it. Some of it, obviously Gio and Clement good in Europe, Beale decent enough in the league, but wasn't really good in Europe at all really. Um, it's obviously some one or two results in there. I just don't think you won't really remember it at all. You just try
yeah,
and forget it and block it your mind. Now we're on to happy times, hopefully. Obviously what's coming out this morning, I'm a bit mixed on it. Not really keen on it personally, but we'll see. But as I say, you're just thank the Lord that they finally done it. It took us what, Jack, 3, 4 videos to get for it to
nah,
finally come to fruition. So thank the Lord.
no, no. Finally, obviously, Philippe Clement sacked, and then that was the team that started the game in the Saturday. There, you're looking at that team. It's kind of the best you can offer up at the moment, which is a sad reflection on what Rangers really is at the moment. That was the team that Clement started in his first game with Rangers. I mean, you look at that as well. It's not exactly setting the world alight. You've got players like Goldson in there, Barisic, Lundstrom, Sam Lammers even starting Obviously, Abdallah Seaman remembered pretty fondly. Scott Wright, the immovable object at that point. So I think you can see there's not too much between the two teams, and that shows you we've not really progressed on the park at all in the last year or so. So he's got an argument,
Mm.
100%. Phillipe come on to be like, look, we've not improved and we've downsized and we've cared more about getting ready players on big wages and obviously building for you for the future. And that wasn't going to happen in one season. So hopefully we continue that standpoint and we keep on improving this team because you can see obviously Egaman and Cherny and Yefty Diomande, they're all good players, but it's now the case to obviously continue that, and I don't think any of these players would have got better under Philippe Clement's leadership. I think you're seeing a regression in Raskin already, Diomande, Yefty, Egaman. Like these players
No.
have had good moments in the season so far, and they've just completely hit
I
a brick
wouldn't,
wall under Clement.
I wouldn't obviously under him as well, haven't you? But I wouldn't just put it on him as well. I'd put it on these players as well. I think these players have to have a look at themselves as well. Do they really want to be here? Do they really want to be a part of the fight? Do they really actually want to be remembered here? Do they actually want to win titles? Because so far you don't really get that feel for any of them, really. And yet again, we're sitting here and Tavernier survives again. That's what,
Nah, well,
5 managers now?
I know
5 or 6 or something?
he's lucky that the transfer window isn't open because Tavernier is
He
he's
has
just
to
the
go.
guy that you
He
have to
has to
put there
go.
because there's nobody else at the moment. But he's done at Rangers. Like that's been a fact for like a year and longer now that he's done. But no, you're totally right. I mean that game against St Mirren was terrible. It was absolutely terrible, and the players need to take a lot of the flack for that as well. I'm seeing a lot of abuse kind of online for Clinton Ciali. He obviously wasn't great. He didn't cover himself in too much glory with the goals. But you've got to remember, he's a young guy. He's what under 10 games of professional football. Of course, he should be doing better in situations, but I'm looking more at the experienced heads at the other side of him, like Robin Propper and James Tavernier and Jack Butland and the goals and stuff, for example. Like, obviously,
The second
these
one's a
things
bit.
can happen, but
Hmm. The second one for me is a bit. I think he just throws himself to the flare. See
this
it out, do it.
yeah,
See it
he
out and
was
deal
he
with
was
it.
really weak for those goals, I thought. But I think people then saying, he's crap, he's shite, is exactly the
That's
reason
what
why players don't succeed here at Rangers
yeah,
because of that.
exactly. No, I agree with you, mate. But it just one of them, as I say, he's a young boy. He's going to need the time. He actually looks like he's got a bit of promise about him, and hopefully we can get the finances with it, get the money for him. If he does turn out any decent, but he's just a young boy. He's still got time to develop a game. I'm looking, as you say, I'm looking at the experienced heads. The other ones that should be doing a hell of a lot better, leading this team. And as I say, the team overall. I mean, not even just the Samarin game, the entire season. Just haven't looked arsed at all. Haven't looked like they're up for a fight whatsoever. When it's got
No,
tough, it's got hard. These players, for me, haven't really shown they've got a spine. They've kind of just hid. And as I
no,
say, I would agree. I would say majority of them in the team are wage thieves. You know what I mean? They're just here for a paycheck. They're not actually here to progress. Feel like I mean, you all had Raskin what in January when he came in or what thing we were talking about he wants to go and play for Chelsea and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, all right, he's been decent in it, what have you, but he's some games where he does obviously go missing, what have you. I just think, again, as I say, these players need to have a hard look at themselves. Obviously, down to Clement as well, but I think the players have to have a hard look as well.
yeah, it has to be a total new clean slate for the players. Like this has been not good enough all season, and they need to take accountability for that as well, as much as Clement does. So it'll be interesting to see how they then take this. Um, Being that Clement's gone, they've got nowhere to hide anymore. That's now on the players. Like you can't go and blame Clement in the coming weeks for games that are coming up. So it'll be interesting to see how they then handle this one. There's obviously the debates about who's going to be the next manager, who's going to be the interim manager, who's going to step in and steady the ship till the end of the season. And the front runner at the moment seems to be Barry Ferguson. Um, don't get me wrong, absolutely idolise Barry Ferguson for his time at Rangers. Fantastic, one of the most finest players we've had at the club. But to me, this just like we'll circle back to the start here. What I'm looking for is somebody to come in, obviously, as we say, steady the ship, make us not get embarrassed in these games that are coming up and stuff. Make it a respectable end to the season. I'm not expecting Rangers to go out there and spend millions on getting somebody in till the end of the season. It's going to
No.
be one of those guys that are in and around the club, or they maybe get ties to the club like Barry Ferguson does. But I think the big thing for me is Barry Ferguson has not shown anything in his management career to even warrant that step up to Rangers for interim basis. Like that's where I don't really understand that. I totally understand maybe Barry Ferguson coming into the dressing room and like kicking about these players and making his thoughts and feelings
Aye.
known. I know he'll do that, and that is again maybe something that is needed, but I don't know. It's one of those things that have kind of it's came about. Jim White's reporting on it. Rangers Review obviously are talking
Yeah,
about it as well. So
it just feels like one of them. How do we get the fans back on board?
yeah,
That's what
maybe
it
get
feels like.
somebody
It
that we
just feels
all
like
kind of yeah.
right. They all love Ferguson just until everything's done. Obviously on takeover side, and then actually looking for the proper manager. Just maybe one of them to get the fans right. You know what? Let's get behind them and let's actually. I mean, one thing I personally would love is him to come in here and just give some hard truths to these players and actually let them know you're no good enough. I mean, I'd love to obviously be in the room watching Ferguson doing it. I would love to see him kick one or two of them about. That would be enjoyable for me. Having to suffer through half of them playing football. But for me at the moment in time, I mean, obviously the Moroccan boy, what have you? We're under 20. I know that would be a route to go down as well. It's interim. It's just to get us over this period of line till everything's done. I'm not really bothered who it is. If Ferguson comes in, he'll also have my backing. As I say, it'd be nice to watch him just ragdoll a couple of these players about. And obviously the two he'll be bringing in with him. Was it Neil McCann and what have you? So you're a football man there, you know what I mean? You can do anything, but I say Kevin Thompson and a Stephen Davis as well. Do you know what I mean? The boy that we brought in, the Moroccan thing, I wouldn't be bored with that either. It's just to get us over the line for an absolute disastrous season. Um, I tell you what, though, imagine he wins it. Imagine he goes and wins the Europa League.
Well, there you go. It's a
Imagine.
Roberto Di Matteo situation with Chelsea that season.
Yeah.
I think there's positives and negatives going with this Barry Ferguson thing. I think the positives are definitely overwhelming in terms of look, he's a Rangers guy at heart. But we've seen Rangers guys at the club who have now left, like Alex Rae and Colin Stewart, who are on that management team with Phillipe Clement, and they've also failed. And I think it's obviously a big call because fair enough, we've got nothing much to play for anymore, but that pride has to be instilled in this team again, and I
Totally.
think Barry Ferguson obviously could do that. My kind of reservations with him is the tactical side and how he plays this team, and he's not really
That's,
had too much experience, but
no, sorry, mate. That's what I'm saying. When you have you know what I mean, the two you bring in with you, so they can deal with that. I think obviously for him, just as you say, bringing that pride back, letting these lads know what it actually means to play for Rangers, and you know what I mean, letting them know what it means to win at Rangers even more so. I think that's important to bring, because I mean this is a team of losers, so be nice
yeah.
to have something to say come in and be like, no, you've won fuck all in comparison to me. So I would be there for that, but as I say, just to get us over the line, I'm no too fussed.
No, definitely. It's one to keep an eye on. I think it's one that the support, if announced and if confirmed by Rangers, would 100% be on board with Barry Ferguson because there's no reason kind of nutty after that point. Again, I can sit here with my reservations about what the club are going to do, but the club are going to make a move, and whether that be Barry Ferguson or not, as I say, he's got my total support if that is to be the case. Obviously, the more you look at Sami Shirai, he's already at the club. He's been the club for under a month, and I've got people trying to say, "Oh, get rid of him." He was with Clement's team. Look, this is a guy that was employed by the board to be a coach for Rangers. Clement had probably nothing to do with him coming into the club. He's a he's a really exciting coach, and the way we're trying to go with signing the Moroccans and stuff and hopefully speeding up Hamza Gaman's development in the team. He's going to be key, and hopefully he sticks around and he's a part of the new squad, the management team, whoever it is to be made up of. But he's taking training the day, I believe. It wouldn't surprise me if he's in the dugout on Wednesday as well, just to see that over the line and see how we go. But I think looking at his pedigree so far, I believe he was Strasbourg's assistant manager most recently. Obviously under 23 Moroccan coach, won AFCON with him. A lot of good players come out of him, the Moroccan game. So for me, I think in any capacity he should be involved with the management team going forward. I think it's really unfair to say he was part of Clement's disaster because he's not really been here that long at all. And it would be some for me. I would probably lean more towards
Different.
him being the interim manager personally, maybe with like your Neil McCanns and stuff alongside him. But
It's something different, mate. I mean, I'm not opposed to it whatsoever. Obviously, I've seen quite a lot of people are against it, as you're saying there, but I'm not really bored. As I say, it's just to get us over the line. And as I say, if he starts playing nice football, that'd be a benefit forIvdy's mental health. I guess I say it's just until the end of the season.
I know there's what, like 12
I
games
just
or
don't
something left.
understand. I just don't understand the whole. Oh no, he was a part of Clement. Like you got to get rid of him. You got to, as you say, like the club brought him in, obviously because they maybe highlighting, like, listen, this could be a potential future manager. They maybe just want to get him in there and get him around the squad, get a feel for it. I don't know. I'm just, as I say, I wouldn't be different to have my back anyway, as I say, until the end of the season. And as I said, and it isn't Clement anymore. That's gone. That's thank you very much.
No,
So,
totally. Totally. And I wouldn't mind if Barry was maybe the figurehead and he was obviously pulling the
well,
strings
why
for the
that's it.
team.
Like, you know what I mean? Why not have just the two of them together?
Nah,
You know
because
what I
you've
mean?
already got him there, and then it's just the case of obviously getting a decent enough coaching staff till the end of the season. But it's a different approach that Rangers are hopefully going to take here. We need a sporting director in first of all. That has to be the key thing. Get a
Do
sporting
you know it's
director in and let him oversee everything and pick the
do
manager for obviously next
you know
year.
it's sad as we were saying the same things the last time when we were looking for a manager, get a sporting director in and all this kind of, it's just
Yeah,
mental, man. It's mental. We're talking about, oh, we need a manager that plays a style and everything like that. And we're still having to say it after another manager's been in and he's get sacked. Just tells me everything. It really does. I mean, the American mob can't come in anytime sooner. They
yeah.
can't come in anytime sooner because, as I say, once these lot are gone, it's going to be it's a complete and utter different ball game now.
Yeah, no, totally. And you would think that again, our opinions again matter to us because you're allowed your opinion at the end of the day. But I
Totally.
think a lot of these, a lot of the fans and stuff that say, "Oh, you need Rangers guys in there, and you need Rangers men, obviously for the next season." See, the 49ers are going to come in and do exactly what they want to get Rangers winning
They
trophies.
will.
Like no matter what
That's it.
that is, they'll do it.
They, what's best for business to quote Triple H, that's exactly what they will do. They will go and identify someone who is capable of winning a league title, who is managing a similar kind of, as I say, right now, I look at for right now with Leeds, Daniel Farker, do you know what I mean? Like you're in the championship, you need a manager you know can get you out of that league. There you go, you've got Daniel Farker, he can do it, he's won it before. Obviously we get to the playoff final and then obviously lost that, but this season looks like they're going up, so I have no doubt in my mind they will run this club a hell of a lot better. I mean, Jack, I think a toddler could run this
Mhm.
club a hell of a lot better than the way it's been run, really, right now. The money's just been wasted. You know what I mean? I just feel like it's like the Wolf of Wall Street, really, at the top of the board. Do you know what I mean? Let's just take our money and forget
Mhm.
everything else. I give him one wee player, whenever, but as I say, I would not be against this guy, Ferguson, whoever, until we get to the summer, and then we can identify the right candidate. But the thing that annoys me the most is we're going into another summer where it's going to be right. You're going to have to hang me for the Champions League playoffs and all that kind of stuff. Again, we'll be unprepared for the Champions League to get in to try and get that financial money that's going to benefit the club in the long run, and then obviously competing for the league. You know, Celtic will already have their targets for going into the summer. Us, it's just
It's back to
again
square
going
one
up
again. It's
again.
back to the drawing board. It's really you would hope though
Disaster,
with
fucking
this
disgusting.
takeover and stuff happening that again we get an interim coaching staff in for the rest of the season, and then that work goes on for the takeover to happen for everyone else. And then you would hope by the end of the season you'll hear rumblings of potential candidates and stuff, and somebody will be in place probably before the season ends, and then we'll start looking to plan for in the summer for these playoffs because they are right at the start of the summer. You need to then have the squad ready for then as well. So it's a big ask for new owners to come in and make all that happen, but it's the reality we've been at Rangers Football Club. It's something we've been
That's the
unprepared
thing that
for years with.
see the thing we obviously with Clement, it was like, oh, we're building for the future. Listen, see here at this football club, you don't get time like that. You have to win. This is
No,
the reality of Rangers. You have to win for the get go. You don't get, oh, it's not Arsenal. We're no 5 year plan, and this is a successful club. We have to win straight away. That's it.
yeah.
So for me, the manager that has to come in is it's got to be a winner.
Totally, totally, and obviously if Sammy Shirai is that guy for the time being, I'm all with it. But I think maybe Barry and him could be all right. Obviously, Kevin Thompson is at the club at the moment, in the youth team and stuff. So again, that would be a way to go. Stephen Davis, he's done it before. He's
Mm.
came in and he managed a couple of games here and there. So again, his name will be thrown around. But getting on to what is a big debate amongst Rangers fans, as soon as a manager gets sacked and as soon as this guy is out of a job, the debate will come up. So while we're on the debate of managers, if Steven Gerrard is available, obviously, is he the guy you're
Mm.
picking?
No, straight away. No, I just, obviously it was. I don't know, mate. If Gerrard came back, you can't say you wouldn't have a bit of a buzz. Obviously, I know everyone goes on about only one league title, but it was such an important league title. I'm not one of them that hangs with the argument where it was like, oh, it was Beale that was behind all these great stuff. We've seen how Beale was on his own. You're telling me a man that played at the top level and won the Champions League and everything like that. You're telling me he couldn't coach. I just can't get in that argument. But if he came back, I mean, I wouldn't be against it whatsoever. I just feel like we have to maybe look for somebody else. But it splits the fans down the middle, doesn't it? Obviously, because of the way he left and what have you. But then as time's gone on, you've kind of understood why. You know what I mean? He knew he wasn't going to get the financial backing to really kick on, to really change up here. So I mean, I don't know. For me, I wouldn't be totally against it. I wouldn't be totally for it. Sort of in the middle on it.
Yeah, I would probably be more leaning to no for Gerrard, to be honest with you. The overwhelming feeling I have is obviously when he left. As managers came and went since, you understood why Gerrard maybe took that chance to leave. He had won the league for it after all. We were going into then. For that point, we could have built and built and built and won another league title and kept on going. But he didn't get the resources that he wanted and he left and we didn't sell players that we had to sell. And we stagnated for years. So I can understand totally why Steven Gerrard left the club. I think looking at what Gerrard's now achieved after Rangers, though, Aston
Aye.
Villa, and Saudi as well. He's not done much. He's got a lot of cash in the bank, right enough. So you've not got that argument where he's going to be looking for money off you. So, but yeah, for me, this is just going back in the past. I want to actually move forward now. We've got new owners hopefully coming in. We've got a whole new standpoint hopefully in where we go as a club. I can't be going back to Steven Gerrard as the coach, and of course, I absolutely love him for that league title and probably the mentality they instilled in Rangers at that point. It felt like we were actually behind everybody for once, and he was able to do that. So he definitely has things that align with Rangers. You look at his playing career at Liverpool. Liverpool and Rangers are very similar in the way they are. So it's clear why he took to us, but I think it's one of those things that will have to be in the past for now. And I don't see it happening personally, but it's one of those things to again bring up. And something that we'll briefly touch on after all said and done with the managers kind of debate at the moment. Parag Marath of the 49ers. I think it was midweek last week. It was after Patrick Stewart's interview anyway. Broke through in the news that they're planning a takeover of Rangers, and this gave us the buzz that we needed to
Aye.
get back on board with what's been happening this season, why we've been getting rid of players and getting rid of wages and bringing in players that were maybe a bit cheaper and trying to get just to the end of the season. So it makes sense. So we're looking to do this. And Parag Marath, obviously at Leeds, he's got ownership over there. 49ers are obviously the 49ers. I don't know enough about American football really to comment, but billionaire anyway, so must be doing all right. And I think it makes total sense for a guy like this to come in and think Rangers is a exciting opportunity for his team to take. You look at the history and the standing of Rangers in football. This is a club that should be fighting at the very top of the league and winning titles every single season, and also fighting at the very latter ends of the European stages. So, I mean, everything makes sense for like guys like this to come in, and it looks like it's going to hopefully be complete between April and June. So, you as a Leeds fan, how do you feel that
Aye.
this man will then take his experience for Leeds into Rangers?
I will just obviously because everybody thinks it's like the actual football. It's obviously an investment thing. Me. I know. I think he's obviously, as I say, what's going on at Leeds and that now. I mean, it's just obviously try to get back into the league. I think he's done really well. managing it. Obviously had to sell some of their better players in the summer to actually keep the books good. And for me, it's just always it's also concerning, obviously, because Red Bull have a wee involvement with Leeds right now, so you're kind of like you're nervous that they might take over fully for Leeds, and then these lot will just come in into us, which for me, I'm all there for. But as I say, I think they'll run the club well enough, mate. They're smart enough. He makes good decisions. And they have I would say that they actually take the time to actually listen to people. Do you know what I mean? Actually listen to the fans and actually embrace the community that they're coming into. Do you know what I mean? I'm just as I say, they'll run it smartly. They won't make stupid decisions that, as I say, our board have previously made consistently. Um, and I'm just can't wait for this to happen. As soon as it did, obviously this broke out and what have you. We were all breaking out with the red, white, and the blue. God bless America flags. Some is staying the Kurt Angle celebration with the milk, others with beer. Um, but obviously then the team had to play football and it sort of took the buzz away a wee bit, didn't it? But then you were remembered that this is potentially going to happen. Will definitely happen. As I say, I'm just want to be seeing us play decent football again and actually being a winning football club again would be nice. So that would be nice, mate. As I say, I think the Lord Clement's gone. As I say, they'll obviously identify the right candidate. They'll take their time on it. They won't rush it. They won't be pressured into Hingway. They will take their time. They will make sure they get the right man. Not really a sacking Hingway, obviously. I know people will say, oh, maybe Jesse Marsh and all these guys. You won't see anything like that here. You won't. Just taking their time, do business the right way. Because I mean, for the last couple of years, the hair's gone, Jack. The hair's gone because of it. You know what I mean? The mind's gone because of it as well. Let's be honest with ourselves here. We've all lost our mind over the last couple of years with Rangers. But I'm just positive, mate. Positive.
Yeah, and I think that's the overwhelming thoughts for everybody that this is going to be a positive partnership from the experiences with Leeds, and then again taking that step over to Rangers and trying to do the exact same thing. It seems like it's smart for everybody, and they're not going to invest and then just half-arse it. They want a return on their investment at the end of the day. So aye, it's a big agreement. Hopefully, going to be kind of, as we say, April and June seem to be between the months that that will happen. So it's going to be a big couple of months to watch that. Again, this probably would have been the focus of the day's episode if obviously the Clement stuff didn't then happen on the Sunday night. But it's definitely something that we'll continue to probably speak about in the coming weeks. But the Rangers do have to play football again, I'm afraid. But
Sadly.
for the first time in a long time under no Philippe Clement. So, aye, it's a tough place to go to Kilmarnock again. These are like just friendlies now. Just want to see players getting a bit of game time and
Well, that's the thing.
nah.
That's the big thing for me. Obviously, I said it last time as well. Bailey Rice has to be involved here.
Hmm.
He has to be involved, and that's not just me saying, "Oh, he has to be involved if he's going to have any chance of making it next season with us. Him and Finlay Curtis, both of them have to be involved in these games. I kind of like to see them just start from the beginning. What have we got to lose here? You know what I
No,
mean?
no,
What have we got
totally.
to lose here? Just play people, you know what I mean? Give people a chance to actually play. And obviously, as I say, one or two of them boys are in the academy now, obviously working with the team, so they're coming up to help on the interim basis. Pretty sure they'd push to get some of these young lads first minutes because for me, it's just nice to see steady having to look at the same faces all the time who just don't care about the club um, playing.
Yeah.
So I say that and then watch Ross McCausland get all the minutes.
Aye. No, no, totally. This is what has to happen now for the rest of the season. I think taking Europe out of the equation, we've still got two massive games. Like they're huge games for us now in Europe against Fenerbahce again that we haven't even been able to comment on because there's just been that much to talk about. But again, the preview for that will be next week. And aye, like just play your Finlay Curtises and your Bailey Rice's and obviously Danilo getting back up to full fitness. The guys that are going to be here, Hamza, Gaman and stuff, like just play
I'd
them and
even
get the best out of them for the end of the season.
I would even drop Butland and all. Drop him. Can't watch
Honestly,
that.
who
Just
cares who
drop
plays
him.
anymore? I
Drop
just
him
want
in
to
it.
see players that actually like playing.
Obviously, we get these two massive games coming up. Personally, for me, the best thing we can do with them is put Jose Mourinho in the rucksack, take him home with us, and let him know you're here at Rangers now, mate. That'd be what I'd be doing. I'd be everything just to kidnap Jose and bring him to Ibrox.
No,
Um,
totally.
I can't say that's Europe done as well. So, aye.
No, it's just friendlies to the end of the season. And Kilmarnock have been a bit dodgy this season as well. They've not been as impactful at home as they have been in recent years. But Rangers are terrible
Yeah,
against
that'll still beat
everybody,
us.
so aye, it's going to be interesting to see who takes the team, who gets appointed interim manager, and then the next steps for the board. And I would expect we'll see a statement for Patrick Stewart pretty soon, when we didn't really expect to see one so soon after his last. So it's a big time for the club. We need to get things right now. We need to get by Phillipe Clement and his style, and we need to kick on for the future. The first game obviously comes really quick on Wednesday, and it'll be interesting to, again, to see who starts that game, who is in charge in that game, and then what happens after it, because it's going to be busy. So, aye, Philippe Clement is finally sacked as Rangers manager. Again, if you did enjoy the podcast and have any thoughts, leave a like, subscribe to us, and leave some comments on your thoughts on Philippe Clement, the current status of Rangers, and who you want to see in charge for the rest of the season. But until then, we'll see you next week again. Probably looking at that interim team and looking ahead to the next game. So, see you then.